The tools, products, and techniques in this video are intended for use by adult modelers. Anyone under the age of 13 should always have adult supervision when using said tools, products, and techniques.
Hey everybody, welcome to Payne-ted Plastic's Infos. Right, I thought you guys might like to see my wet palette. Right, this is if you're using water-based paints, water-based acrylics, a wet palette is pretty handy. You can keep paints for several days, right, without them drying up, and it's particularly helpful if you're mixing colors. You can mix one big batch and keep it for, like I said, several days, and it will not dry up. So I thought you guys might like to see how we do this. So let's go over sort of what you need and how you build it and how it works and all that stuff. Right? Be right back. All right. So the first thing you're going to need is a container. Right? I've been using this one for years and years, and it's a Snapware. I don't even remember where I got it. It's so old, but I like it because it's got a sealing lid. Right, it'll seal and be airtight, and we'll talk about why that's important in just a few minutes. But you get your container, right, and then you're going to need paper towel. This is actually just 2 sheets folded over. And then I cut it so it fits down in the bottom nicely, right? After that, water, agua, right? Just pour that in. I mean, normally I do this at the sink, but, you know, since I'm filming, right? You do want everything good and wet, right? Nice and wet in there. But yeah, you don't want puddles. So give me 1 second. I'm gonna dump this out, and then we'll carry on. All right, got all the excess drained out. Now we just have a nice wet paper towel. The next thing you're gonna need is parchment paper, and be sure you get parchment paper and not wax paper. Parchment paper is slightly porous, so it'll allow the moisture to come through. Wax paper is not porous. It will not allow moisture to come through. So, yeah, be sure you get parchment paper. That's very important. But you put that on, and it may try to curl a little bit at first, but once it kind of gets moist, it'll flatten out and lay down for you. But that is essentially your wet palette. Right, just a piece of parchment paper on top of wet paper towels. Let me grab a few paints and we'll see how this all works. All right, so I just grabbed some cheapy like Michael's paints. Actually, I don't even know if this one's any good anymore. I think it might be dried up, but they're just water-based, right, paints, and I don't use them very often. As you guys know, I'm a Tamiya guy. I like Tamiya paints, but occasionally I do like to use water-based acrylics, and when I do, this is how it goes. So just got some brown here. I'm just going to put a little blob out on the palette, and hopefully, I don't know if there's anything in here or not, but we're going to try. Is there anything in there? I don't think there is. Oh, ooh, yeah, that's trash. Okay. The neat thing about the wet palette is it will keep your paint hydrated, right? Because it'll, as the water evaporates out of the paint, it'll wick up water from underneath. And if you're mixing colors, you can mix up one big pile of the color that you need, and it'll stay moist for days. I mean, literally, that's kind of the importance of having something with a lid. I can put the lid on this, pop it in the refrigerator, and it will stay wet for
forever.
Well, that's not true. Not forever, but it'll stay wet for as long as I need it to. You know, take the lid off the next day, come back in, and the paint's still nice and moist, right? If you're not using water-based, you know, like for example, Tamiya's, it's solvent-based. Technically it's an acrylic, but it's a solvent-based acrylic, right? It's not water-based, so it won't work for that, but it will work for, you know, any water-based acrylic paint that you use, be it Vallejo or, you know, Games Workshop, Citadel, that kind of stuff. It'll work fine for that, and like I said, it keeps your paint wet and ready to go for a good long time. The other neat thing, when you're done, you can just pull up your parchment paper, toss that in the trash, and you're ready to go. Put another piece of parchment paper down, and you're good to go. You will have to change out your paper towel from time to time. It'll, especially if you leave the paint for, you know, for several days, it will seep into the paper towel. But overall, you can change out your parchment paper and just keep going. You know, new colors, new project, whatever it is. Put the lid on, save it, and you've got paint that will not dry out for several days. So, yep. Just thought you might be interested in that. So, thanks for hanging out, and let me know in the comments if you give it a try. Bye-bye.